topic which I am going to deal is the differences between the rural and urban communities. As you know, there are positive sides, there are negative sides in both the communities. Whether we are willing it or not, we have to live within these societies. Before getting into the subject matter, we must know what is urban community is and what is not. According to the Census of India 2001, they have given some characteristic features for urban communities. Let us discuss these one by one. The first one is an area should have more than 5,000 population, and second one is density of the population must be more than 400 people per square kilometer, and the third point is among the population, the male working population must be more than 75%. These are all the things. If these three characteristics are existing in an area, means we can call that setup as urban setup. If one of these characteristics is not found in an area, means we cannot call that society as urban one. As you know, there are differences between rural and urban communities. Let us discuss one by one. The first difference is the size of the community. While taking rural society, the number of population is very less, so the size of the community is very small one. In the case of urban society, the number of population is very high, so the size of the community is very large. And while talking about the density of the population, in rural society, because of the less number of population, the density of the community is very less. At the same time, in urban areas, because of many factors like employment opportunities, transport, hospital facilities, and some other municipal facilities, because of these facilities, the people are concentrating on a particular place. So the number of people on a particular locality is becoming more and more. They are more in number on a particular place. So ultimately the density of the population will become very high. And third point is occupation. As we know, the primary occupation of rural people is agriculture only. The people mainly based on agricultural activities. According to the Census of India, out of the total population, 72.22% of the people are living in rural areas. Majority of these people are engaged in agricultural activities only. If at all we want to develop India, means we have to focus our attention only on rural people, particularly on farmers. For that, the government has implemented so many programs. Among them, the CDP, Community Development Project, Integrated Rural Development Project. There are so many programs. These programs, due to some problems, these programs has not become successful one. Because of the administrative problem, because of the intermediaries, if the government is allotting 1 rupee to the rural people, means out of that 1 rupee, 15 paise is reaching to the rural people. Because of this problem, that agricultural system has not developed. And another one point is people's occupation is mainly based on agriculture. So if at all they want to earn more money, means they have to get huge product. While producing all these things, there are struggles from natural field. See, if there is no rain, means that will also affect the agricultural product. If it is heavy rain, means that will also affect the agricultural farm. If strong wind and all these things, means that will also affect the occupation of the rural people. See, because of these problems, people have been in indebtedness. So in order to develop these rural people, the government has taken some alternative sources. For that, the government has implemented some programs like self-help group. The people nowadays, this self-help group is becoming more and more, particularly in Tamil Nadu. Each and every district is having more than 3,000 self-help groups in all over Tamil Nadu. While talking about the same thing, because of these problems, the agriculture is keeping on declining in rural areas. While coming to the urban areas, we can find the predominance of non-agricultural activities. That too, 27.78% of the people are engaged mostly on non-agricultural activities. That too, industry-related activities and some other things. And the fourth one is environment. While talking about the rural areas, the rural people are closely linked with environment. They are closely depending on environment. Because of this, the people are mentally, physically, they feel healthy. So the number of death rate is keeping on reducing. While talking about the thing in urban community, the people are isolated from nature. They are having close contact with man-made environment. So ultimately, the people are having their own specialization, their own division of labor. Because of this division of labor, because of the specialization, their environment is getting polluted, particularly on air, water, soil, noise. Because of the pollution on these things, the people are getting more physical problem as well as mental problem. These things are leading the urban people to physical, mental illness. So ultimately speaking, the statistics says that the death rate has been increasing in urban areas. And fifth point is homogeneity and heterogeneity. In rural areas, the people are looking alike in racial, psychological and cultural traits. They think alike, they behave alike, their norms, their values, their customs, everything looks alike among the rural population. In the case of urban population, the people are having some differentiation in the racial, psychological and cultural traits. So heterogeneity is prevailing in the urban environment. Sixth point is social differentiation and stratification. We cannot find that much of differentiation and stratification in rural community. If it is there, means it is because of caste only. See, while talking about social differentiation, we must concentrate on 4 points. First one is the interaction among the people and the political setup and the economic factor and the cultural factor. In these 4 factors, the rural people are not having that much of differentiation and stratification. The same thing in urban areas, the people are having much differentiation in political setup, economic setup, social interaction and the cultural factor also. The stratification is mainly based on class system in urban society. And then 7th point is mobility. We can, because of the less population, we can find less mobility among the rural people. In the case of urban society, because of the huge amount of population, the people are having more mobility intensively. And 8th point is system of interaction. Because of the very less population, small size of the rural community, they are provided with the opportunities to know each other. So they are developing personal relationship. In rural society, we can find the primary group relationship. They are aware of each and everybody else. While coming to the urban society, we can find the secondary group of relationship because of the huge population, because of the cultural environment and all these things. While coming to the 9th point, the family, we can find a joint family system in rural areas. Because of the control over the family members, the joint family system is so strong. Members in the joint family system are getting so much of socialization process. Because of the proper socialization, the people are trying to adapt themselves according to the environment. They are having more adjustability, they are having more adaptability. So the conflict, controversy among the member is very less. The family will not be disorganized very easily. While coming to the urban society, it is we can find the prevalence of a nuclear family. Because of the less control among the family members, nuclear family is very less stronger. While talking about the intimacy, that closeness, that adjustability, adaptability, we cannot find that much of adaptability, adjustability in urban areas when compared with the rural areas. 10th point is marriage. In rural areas, we can find mostly the arranged marriages. Within that family, the individuals are provided with much more opportunity to select their life partners. In rural areas, the people are having much concentration on rituals, functions and all these things. The marriage is considered as a sacred one in rural areas. At the same time, in urban areas, we can find mostly the marriages. Here one positive side is the individuals are provided with much opportunity to select their life partners. At the same time, within that marriage, there are problems arising because of the lack of concentration by the elderly people. And apart from this, the people in urban areas, they are treating this marriage as merely a function. And 11th point is condition of women. In rural areas, very rarely the people are provided with the opportunity to have education. By facing a long struggle, the people are getting education. Though they are getting education, the status of the women is very low. They are considered as very low when compared with the men in the rural areas. At the same time, in urban areas, the women are provided with more opportunity to have education, to go for job and all these things. The people are having this kind of opportunity. They are treated equally to the men in urban areas. While coming to the neighborhood plays an important role in the rural areas. It plays a vital role for the cooperation, for the functioning of the rural society, for the development of the rural society. And at the same time, in urban area, it does not have that much of importance. And 13th point is the we feeling. If we are taking rural people, means they are having that kind of intimacy among themselves. They feel themselves as a same group. They will not feel their another member as a stranger. They are having that kind of we feeling. In case of urban area, because of the large population, they are not having that much of awareness on another member, so that we feeling is not prevalent when compared with rural areas. And the 14th point is the differences in social restriction. See, in a rural area, each and every individual is provided with his own freedom. He can do anything else what he wants to do. At the same time, his freedom should not affect the privacy of other people. For that, the people are having their own social control, something like norms, customs, values, and all these things. By having this kind of informal social control, the society is controlled and the society is developing its own. At the same time, in urban society, the formal control is playing a vital role. Because of the large population, the community cannot maintain informal social control. Why? Because the people are from different cultural background, they are from different racial background. So there is no possibility for these kind of norms and all these things. And 16th point is differences in social interaction. The population is very less in number in rural society. They are having personal relationship. They are having that much of intimacy among themselves. Because of these things, competition between among the member is very less. If at all they are having any competition among the people, means that will be a direct competition. So ultimately these people are having more tolerance, more accommodation and all these things. At the same time, while talking about the urban community, because of the large population, they are not having that kind of personal relationship. They are having impersonal relationship. The competition among the population is impersonal relationship among the member. The competition will become very more. Amount of competition is very high. So ultimately, if the competition is there, means that will be indirect competition. So among the people, we cannot find that much of toleration and accommodation. 17th point is differences in social viewpoint. They are in rural areas, the people are not having that much of interest in politics. They will not participate actively in the rural politics. Instead of having participation on this, they are giving more importance to religion and ritual things. Their faith, their behavior, their thoughts, everything is based on religious things only. Because of these, they themselves feel free, they are frank, they are open, and they are genuine also. At the same time, in the urban community, we cannot expect that kind of things. In urban community, the people are having interest on politics. They are taking part actively in the politics. They are giving very less importance to the religion and rituals and some other religious functions, all these things. Their faith, everything, their faith, their activities, their behavior, everything is based on reasoning only. And they are, because of these characteristics, they are forced to behave artificially. We cannot expect that much of frankness, that much of openness, that much of genuineness which the rural people is having. And 18th point is distinction in economic life. As we already discussed, their basic primary occupation is based on agriculture and agriculture only. If at all they are engaged in, they are involved in some other activities, means that will be something related with agricultural things only. Very meager amount of population is engaged in non-formal sector, and because of the problem prevailing in the agricultural system, the people are getting very less income. So ultimately, their standard of life is becoming very less. While comparing with urban community, the people are having much opportunity to get a job. They are having more opportunity to get income. So ultimately their life standard is becoming very high. And the 19th point is difference in social mobility. In rural areas, because of the less population, mobility among the people is very less. We cannot find that much of mobility among the people. It looks like calm water. At the same time, in the urban areas, because of the more population, because of the density, the people are having more mobility. They are migrating always one place to another place. So it looks like boiled water. And finally, the 20th point is distinction in cultural life. In rural areas, the people are not in a position, they are not in a mentality to accept any kind of changes. Their cultural life is more static. They just do not want to change anything. They just do not want to adopt any specialization. They just do not want to, of course, they are not in a mentality to readily accept the modern things. Their basis of culture is based on caste and purity, and they are giving more importance to the traditional things. At the same time, while talking about the urban community, they are having dynamic in nature. They want to change day-to-day activities. They just want to change themselves in every walk of life. Apart from all these things, they are following secular things. They do not rely on caste, religion and all these things. They are having secular in nature, mentality of secularity, and they are giving less importance to tradition, and they just want to follow the modern technology. They just want to make them as a modern one.